My warrior child, even as you read these words, I want you to know something powerful and profound. I am fighting for you. While you sleep, while you worry, while you wonder if you can make it through another day, heaven's armies are moving on your behalf. You are not fighting these battles alone. I see every attack launched against you. I witness every fiery dart aimed at your heart. I know every strategy the enemy has devised to break your spirit. But hear me clearly. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Every tongue that rises against you in judgment shall be condemned. This is your heritage as my servant. The battles you face are not just physical or emotional. They're spiritual. Behind every challenge, every opposition, every unexplainable resistance, there's a spiritual reality at work. But do not fear. I am the Lord of hosts, the commander of heaven's armies, and I am fighting for you. When it feels like you're surrounded, remember, those who are with you are more than those who are against you. When it seems like you're outnumbered, recall, one with God is a majority. When your strength fails, understand, my strength is made perfect in your weakness. The enemy may be strategic, but I am sovereign. He may be persistent, but I am omnipotent. He may be cunning, but I am all-knowing. Every move he makes is under my authority. Every attack he launches must pass through my permission, and I allow only what I can empower you to overcome. I see how the opposition has worn you down, how the constant battles have exhausted your strength, how the repeated attacks have tested your faith. But hold on. I am not just watching your struggles. I am actively engaging in your warfare. The battle is not yours, but mine. When you feel overwhelmed by the forces aligned against you, remember David facing Goliath. When you feel surrounded by enemies, think of Elisha, surrounded by heaven's armies. When you feel powerless against your opposition, recall how I parted the Red Sea for Moses. I am the same God today. The attacks you face are often proof that you're moving in the right direction. The opposition you encounter is frequently evidence that you're carrying something valuable. The warfare you experience is usually confirmation that you're threatening the enemy's territory. Don't let the battles discourage you. Let them confirm your calling. I've equipped you with spiritual armor, the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, the shoes of peace, the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit. These aren't mere symbols. They're powerful weapons for spiritual warfare. Use them with confidence. When the enemy comes in like a flood, my Spirit raises a standard against him. When darkness seems to be winning, my light shines brightest. When evil appears to have the upper hand, my victory is already assured. Your battles are opportunities for me to display my power. The enemy wants you to believe you're fighting alone. He wants you to think you're defenseless against his attacks. He wants you to feel overwhelmed by the opposition. But these are lies. I am your defender, your protector, your mighty warrior, and I never lose a battle. You may not see me moving, but I am. You may not feel me working, but I am. You may not understand my strategy, but trust me, I am fighting for you with wisdom, far beyond human comprehension. My ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. The attacks against you haven't caught me by surprise. The opposition you face hasn't overwhelmed my resources. The battles you're fighting haven't exceeded my power. I knew every challenge you would face before you faced it, and I've already prepared your victory. When you feel too weak to fight, rest in my strength. When you don't know how to pray, rely on my Spirit. When you can't see a way forward, trust my guidance. I'm not just sending you into battle. I'm going before you, standing beside you, and covering your back. Your enemies may be visible, but your greatest ally is invisible. Your opposition may be loud, but my whisper is more powerful. Your battles may seem overwhelming, but my peace is stronger than any chaos. Rest in this truth. I am fighting for you. Stop trying to fight battles I've already won. Stop struggling against enemies I've already defeated. Stop fearing attacks I've already overcome. The victory isn't dependent on your strength. It's secured by my power. The enemy may have strategies, but I have already declared the outcome. He may have weapons, but I have already determined the victory. He may have plans for your destruction, but I have plans for your prosperity, hope, and future. Remember when David faced Goliath, he didn't focus on the giant's size. He focused on his God's power. When Joshua faced Jericho, he didn't rely on military might. He relied on divine strategy. When Gideon faced the Midianites, he didn't count his soldiers. He counted on my promises. The battles you face today are shaping your testimony for tomorrow. The opposition you encounter is developing your spiritual muscles. The warfare you experience is training your hands for battle, your fingers for war. Every attack is an opportunity for victory. Every challenge a chance for triumph. I see how the enemy has tried to use your past against you, your fears against you, your weaknesses against you. But what he means for evil, I am turning for good. His attacks are becoming stepping stones to your victory. His opposition is becoming a platform for my power. When the battle seems endless, remember, I am the beginning and the end. When the opposition feels overwhelming, recall, I am the Lord Almighty. When your strength is failing, understand, I am your ever-present help in trouble. You're not just fighting for victory, you're fighting from victory. The enemy may have access to your circumstances, but he doesn't have authority over your destiny. He may attack your body, but he can't touch your soul. He may challenge your faith, but he can't change my faithfulness. I am your shield, your fortress, your strong tower. Don't measure the battle by the size of your enemy. Measure it by the size of your God. Don't evaluate your chances by your resources. Evaluate them by my riches and glory. Don't assess your strength by your abilities. Assess it by my power working through you. I've given you authority to trample on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy. Nothing shall by any means hurt you. This isn't just a promise. It's your position in me. Stand firm in this authority. Exercise this power. Walk in this truth. The attacks you face often come because you carry something valuable. The opposition you encounter frequently appears because you're making progress. The warfare you experience usually intensifies because you're advancing in your purpose. Don't let the battles distract you from your calling. When the enemy floods your mind with doubt, I flood your heart with faith. When he whispers defeat, I declare victory. When he suggests surrender, I inspire perseverance. My voice is louder than his lies, my truth stronger than his deception, my power greater than his attacks. You may feel overwhelmed, but you're not overpowered. You may feel surrounded, but you're not abandoned. You may feel targeted, but you're not defeated. I am your rear guard, your strong defense, your mighty fortress in the day of trouble. The battles you face aren't just about you. They're about my kingdom advancing through you. The opposition you encounter isn't just personal. It's part of a larger spiritual warfare. The attacks you experience aren't just random. They're strategic attempts to stop my purpose in your life. But hear this clearly. No attack can derail my plans for you. No opposition can prevent my purpose. No warfare can stop my will. I am fighting for you with wisdom beyond human understanding, and power beyond natural limitations. When the enemy comes with confusion, I bring clarity. When he brings chaos, I establish peace. When he brings condemnation, I speak acceptance. My presence in your life is your greatest weapon in spiritual warfare. Stop fighting battles in your own strength. Stop facing opposition with human wisdom. Stop engaging in warfare with natural resources. I've given you spiritual weapons that are mighty through God for pulling down strongholds. Your prayers are powerful weapons. Your worship is spiritual warfare. Your faith is an unshakable force. When you pray, heaven moves. When you worship, strongholds fall. When you believe, mountains move. The enemy wants you focused on the size of your battles, but I want you focused on the size of your God. He wants you counting your wounds, but I want you counting your victories. He wants you measuring your weakness, but I want you measuring my strength. Remember, every giant in your life is an opportunity for me to display my power. Every Red Sea is a chance for me to make a way. Every fiery furnace is an occasion for me to show myself strong on your behalf. I've stationed angels around you. I've dispatched heavenly forces on your behalf. I've established boundaries the enemy cannot cross. You are protected, defended, and secured by divine power. Don't let temporary setbacks convince you of permanent defeat. Don't let momentary struggles suggest final failure. Don't let current battles predict future outcomes. I am the God who turns battles into blessings, opposition into opportunities, warfare into worship. Stand firm in this moment, my warrior child. Though the battle rages, victory is assured. Though the enemy roars, his defeat is certain. Though darkness threatens, my light prevails. I am fighting for you with all of heaven's resources at my command. When you feel weakest, my strength is most evident. When you feel most vulnerable, my protection is most powerful. When you feel most alone, my presence is most profound. I am not just fighting alongside you. I am fighting ahead of you, clearing paths you cannot see. Lift your eyes above the battlefield. See the armies of heaven positioned on your behalf. Recognize the divine strategies already in motion. Understand the victory already secured through my son's sacrifice. You're not fighting for victory. You're fighting from victory. The enemy's attacks are desperate because he knows his time is short. His opposition is fierce because he recognizes your potential. His warfare is intense because he fears your purpose. But greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. Let my peace guard your heart in the midst of battle. Let my joy be your strength in the face of opposition. Let my love be your foundation in times of warfare. These are not just emotions. They're powerful weapons in spiritual battle. When the enemy reminds you of your past, remind him of his future. When he points to your weakness, point to my strength. When he highlights your failures, highlight my faithfulness. Your position in me is unshakable. Your victory in me is unstoppable. I've given you weapons the enemy cannot counter. Praise that breaks chains, worship that tears down walls, faith that moves mountains, love that overcomes all. Use these weapons with confidence. Wield them with authority. Stand in their power. The battles you face today are preparing you for the victories of tomorrow. The opposition you encounter is developing your spiritual muscles. The warfare you experience is training you for greater authority. Nothing is wasted in my kingdom, not even battles. Stop seeing yourself as a victim. You are a victor in me. Stop viewing yourself as defeated. You are more than a conqueror through me. Stop considering yourself overwhelmed. You are overshadowed by my power. Your prayers are more powerful than you realize. Your faith is more effective than you know. Your stand in me is more significant than you understand. Every prayer is heard. Every faith step is honored. Every spiritual stand is supported by heaven's armies. Remember, when David faced his giant, he ran toward the battle. When Joshua faced Jericho, he shouted in faith. When Jehoshaphat faced overwhelming odds, he led with praise. These aren't just stories. They're strategies for your victory. I am teaching your hands to war and your fingers to fight. I am developing your spiritual senses to discern the enemy's tactics. I am strengthening your faith to stand in the heat of battle. Every challenge is a training ground for greater victory. The enemy may have strategies, but I have already declared the outcome. He may have weapons, but I have already secured the victory. He may have plans for your destruction, but I have already established your triumph. Stand therefore in the liberty with which Christ has made you free. Stand in the authority I've given you. Stand in the victory I've secured. Your position in me is unshakable. Your triumph in me is inevitable. Let my word be your sword, cutting through every deception. Let my spirit be your guide, leading through every battle. Let my presence be your shield, protecting in every attack. You are fully equipped for every encounter. Don't measure the battle by its duration, but by its destination. Don't evaluate the fight by its intensity, but by its intended outcome. Don't assess the warfare by its difficulty, but by its divine purpose. I am working all things together for your good. Rise up with new confidence today. Step forward with renewed courage. Move ahead with restored faith. I am fighting for you with wisdom beyond human understanding and power beyond natural limitations. Remember this always. You are not fighting alone. You are not battling in vain. You are not warring without purpose. Every step of faith, every stand in truth, every battle in righteousness is supported by heaven's resources. The victory is already yours because it's already mine. The triumph is already secured because I've already won it. The outcome is already determined because I've already declared it. Rest in this truth. I am fighting for you, and I never lose a battle. Walk forward in confidence, my warrior child. March ahead in victory. Move forward in triumph. For I, the Lord your God, am fighting for you, and my victory is absolutely assured. Amen.